Margaret Sullivan stood at the coffee shop counter, her 3-year-old daughter Emma tugging at her red skirt. It was one of those crisp autumn mornings that reminded her of simpler times, when her own mother would take her for hot chocolate after school. The man ahead of her in line fumbled with his wallet. His dark coat was well-tailored but wrinkled, as if he'd been wearing it for days. When he turned slightly, Margaret noticed the weariness etched deep in his face. The kind that comes not from lack of sleep, but from carrying burdens too heavy for one person. "I'm sorry," he said quietly to the cashier, searching his pockets. "I thought I had—" "Never mind. I'll come back." Margaret had been there before. Those moments when pride battles necessity, when a simple cup of coffee becomes a luxury you can't afford. She remembered those early days after Emma's father left. "Counting quarters for milk, choosing between gas and groceries? Please," Margaret said, stepping forward. "Let me get that for you. And whatever else you'd like." The man, tall with dark hair just beginning to show threads of silver, turned to look at her. For a moment something flickered in his eyes. Recognition? No. Gratitude mixed with surprise. "That's very kind, but I couldn't possibly—" "It's just coffee," Margaret said gently, the way her grandmother used to speak when offering help without wounds to pride. "We all need a little kindness sometimes." Emma, with her blonde hair and tiny pigtails, looked up at the stranger and offered him her stuffed rabbit. "Mr. Bunny says it's okay to share," she announced, with the wisdom only children possess. The man's stern expression softened completely. He knelt down to Emma's level. "Mr. Bunny is very wise." "Thank you, little one." As Margaret paid for both coffees, his black, hers with cream, she noticed his watch. Expensive, but the leather band was worn thin. Success and struggle, she thought, often walk hand in hand. "I'm Margaret," she said, handing him his cup. "This is Emma." "Daniel," he replied, wrapping his fingers around the warmth. "Daniel Winters, Thank you. More than you know." They parted ways outside the shop. Margaret watched him walk toward the park, his shoulders a little straighter than before. Emma waved goodbye until he disappeared around the corner. That evening, as Margaret tucked Emma into bed in their modest 2-story house with its gray siding and cheerful window boxes, she thought about Daniel. There was something in his eyes. A story untold. But then, weren't we all carrying stories nobody else could see? The next morning arrived with an unusual sound. A rhythmic whirring that grew louder, closer. Emma ran to the window, pointing at the sky. "Mama, look! A butterfly helicopter!" Margaret joined her daughter at the window, her coffee mug nearly slipping from her hand. A sleek white helicopter was descending onto the open field beside their house, its rotors slowing as it touched down on the grass still sparkling with morning dew. A figure emerged. Daniel Winters, but transformed. Gone was the wrinkled coat, replaced by a crisp charcoal suit. He walked toward their front door with purpose, carrying a briefcase and... "Was that Mr. Bunny?" Margaret opened the door before he could knock, Emma peeking out from behind her legs. "Mr. Daniel!" Emma exclaimed. "You brought Mr. Bunny back." He smiled, a real smile this time, reaching his eyes. "Actually, this is Mr. Bunny's cousin. He wanted to come live with you." As Emma hugged her new toy, Daniel turned to Margaret. "Yesterday you showed me something I'd forgotten existed. Simple human kindness given freely without expectation." He set down the briefcase. "I'm the CEO of Winters International. Yesterday was the anniversary of my daughter's passing. She would have been Emma's age. I couldn't face my office, my life. I walked the streets all night. Ended up at that coffee shop with nothing but the clothes on my back, having left my wallet in my car miles away." Margaret's hand went to her heart. A parent's loss? The unimaginable made real. Your kindness? Your daughter's innocence? It reminded me why I built my company. To help people. To make differences in lives. He opened the briefcase, revealing documents. "This is a college fund for Emma, fully funded. And a position at my company for you if you're interested. Director of our new community outreach program." Margaret's eyes filled with tears. "Daniel, I can't." "It was just coffee." "No," he said softly. "It was hope. It was remembering that goodness exists. You didn't see a CEO or a broken man. You saw a human being who needed kindness." Emma tugged on Daniel's coat. "Will you stay for breakfast?" Mama makes good pancakes. Daniel looked at Margaret, who nodded, wiping her eyes. We'd love that. As they walked toward the house, the helicopter pilot waiting patiently, Daniel said, I've learned something these past years. Success isn't measured in helicopters or boardrooms. It's measured in the kindness we show strangers, the hope we give freely, the love we share even when our own hearts are breaking. Margaret thought of her mother's words. Small acts of love can change the world, one heart at a time. That morning, over pancakes and orange juice, with Emma's laughter filling the sunny kitchen, two wounded souls found something they hadn't been looking for: friendship, understanding, and the reminder that kindness, like love, returns to us in ways we never expect. Years later, Emma would tell this story to her own children. How a cup of coffee became a bridge between two worlds. How her mother's gentle heart changed not just one life, but countless others through the foundation Daniel and Margaret would build together. But that morning, it was simply three people sharing breakfast, proving that sometimes the most extraordinary moments begin with the simplest acts of ordinary kindness.